Smear faces, Lord, they hate to hear your message. Do them get with your protection, your armor that I've been blessed with, no stressing. When I'm trying to teach them all your lessons, they looking at me crazy like I got a weird perspective. Smear faces, Lord, they hate to hear your message. Do them get with your protection, your armor that I've been blessed with, no stressing. When I'm trying to teach them all your lessons, they looking at me crazy like I got a weird perspective. Check it. It's crazy how they look at you when you going hard, God body as usual. Your crooked mind is twisted, let's fix your mental, dude. And sit your pride aside to help your spirit through. These crazy times can leave you blind, trust the process. I cannot stress enough that this holy gift's for you. But you steady refuse to get it, just listen. They breaking news, change your views to fix your vision this instant. I think I had a premonition. The Lord speaking through this next sentence. Time for repentance, ask for forgiveness, be sincere and all. Cause you can do all things through Christ, don't fall, but stand tall and brawl in the wilds of the land. Your soul's at hand, faith in the Lord, keep praying, follow his plan, for real to avoid being damned. Cause the road to making it to heaven is slant. Amen. Weird perspective. Weird perspective. Smear faces, Lord, they hate to hear your message. Do them get with your protection, your armor that I've been blessed with, no stressing. When I'm trying to teach them all your lessons, they looking at me crazy like I got a weird perspective. Smear faces, Lord, they hate to hear your message. Do them get with your protection, your armor that I've been blessed with, no stressing. When I'm trying to teach them all your lessons, they looking at me crazy like I got a weird perspective. Weird perspective. This the weird perspective. Weird perspective. This the weird perspective. My weird perspective. Some say I got a weird perspective. Weird perspective. Never mind your thoughts. Weird perspective.
Yo, what's going on, YouTube? Thank you for checking in, for being here with your boy. Listen, I'm sorry. I'm super sorry for being late. We had some technical difficulties. As you guys can see, I'm not in my normal setup, which is in my home. Just trying to do some big things, man. This is a big announcement, and so I wanted to go big for this. So I appreciate you guys staying tuned, locking in. We'll give you guys a couple more seconds to just allow the people to fill in. If y'all like the track, man, shoot a thumbs up in the chat. If you like the track, that is my cousin. I love him. His name's Loyalty. He did the track. So let me know, man, if you guys like it. We plan on releasing that very, very soon. So yeah, man, we're going to give you guys a little bit of time to fill in before we make this announcement. How's everybody doing? Drop this, man. Drop where y'all watching this from too. If you're watching it from Chicago, drop your zip code in the chat. What side of the city you living in? Yeah. Give you guys a little bit of time to fill in. Check out the hoodie. Got merch coming. Weird Perspective coffee mug. Doing some big things over here, man. We trying to step it up for you guys in this year, 2023. We wanna get to a place where we can have 1,000 subscribers. Let's aim for 1,000 subscribers this year. So if you haven't already, and you've been checking out this channel, you've been watching the content, not only like the video, but subscribe to the channel. We need the subscriptions. We need the likes for the algorithm, right? So, man, give you guys a little bit more time, another 10 seconds to fill in. This is an amazing day today, an amazing day. Big announcement coming. Can't wait to tell you guys. While I allow you guys to fill in, just give you a quick overview of this channel and what we're about here at the Weird Perspective. This channel is made to inspire you, to motivate you, to go deeper in your relationship with God. If you don't have a relationship with Jesus, I pray that this channel would inspire you to seek that out. Right? I want to motivate you to go deeper in your walk with Jesus, to go deeper into the Word, to understand God, His character, who He is, why He does certain things. This channel, we want to have real discussions about it. We want to come, everything is filtered through the word. So we want to make sure that as we talk about these things, man, we got scriptures to back it up, right? We got, just history and facts and proof to back up the claims in the Bible. And so I'm willing, I don't know everything. I'm not an expert. I don't have no master's degree in theology. All I am is a person with a brain that God has given me, and I use it to understand him more, to understand our world, why things are happening. And I want to be a source of to bring correction, right, and bring truth to these issues that we're facing. So whether it's money, whether it's politics, sexuality, marriage, parenting, children, whatever it is, we talk about it all here on The Weird Perspective. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in again. Without further ado, we just gonna dive right into it because I had y'all guys waiting long enough, and we was running a little bit late. Like I said, I'm in a new place, never done this before, so I'm still learning about this cameras and angles and setups and all that stuff. But this man that I'm about to introduce to you guys, give y'all a quick little backstory. Is well, first and foremost, we here because season 2 of the Weird Perspective podcast is going to be dropping within the next 2 weeks. And I have a new co-host. So that's the big announcement, is that I have a new co-host. Now, shout out to my big dog, my best friend, my brother from another. There is no beef for all you people that be trying to dig and find stuff on people. There's no beef, right? My guy Eddie, who I did season 1 with, still my road dog. He needed to step away for personal reasons. And so allowing him that time to grieve. Look, we ain't under no contract, no ABC, no Fox, nothing like that. We can do this, switch out people and do things as we please, right? And so just allowing him to take time to deal with the things that he needs to deal with. And maybe he'll be back for season 3. Maybe he might even come in the middle of season 2. Who knows? But that's my dog, man. We still talk every day. I hope he's watching. Just want to let him know, man, I love you, bro. Do what you got to do. And you already know I'm a call away. And we're going to be hanging out real soon. And so with that being said, the time is here. I am going to introduce the new co-host, somebody that, man, I just love his creativity. I love his heart for the Lord. The man, we met at work. I've actually had him on the channel before. Y'all want y'all to welcome to the channel. Give a big warm embrace for my man, my friend, my new co-host, Mr. Raymond Woods. What up, big dog?
Okay, what's up, man?
What's up, man?
How you doing, man?
I'm happy you here, bro.
Happy to be here.
I am super, super excited to have you join just the WP family.
I'm not gonna lie. While we were doing the intro, you probably saw me cracking smiles at the. I'm gonna try and take this seriously, but like at the opening, I was like, when he was saying shout out to everyone who's watching, I'm like, we can't forget the people in jail. You know, the people in the women's prison in Ukraine. You know, the people under the sea. I didn't say that because I want to take this seriously because this is a Christian podcast where we discuss serious things.
Yeah.
So we're going to take this. I'm kidding. You know, but yeah. No, but go ahead. Shout out to the people in Wakanda.
Wakanda forever.
You know, so yeah. That's
Nah, man. Look, man, it's been just a blessing. And so today is about you. It's not about me. It's about you and why I decided to bring you on and have you join what we do here. And so first, I want you, before I dive into that, introduce yourself to the people and let them know a little bit about you, man. What's going on with you? What's new since the last time we were able to have a discussion and talk in our first interview, when I first interviewed you. What's new, man? What's going on with you? Catch us up.
What's new? Well, my wife is watching right now with our new dog.
Hey.
So yeah, you heard the enthusiasm in my voice. But his name is Snow,
Snow.
and we got him yesterday. Now I'm talking about a dog because like I took him for his first walk. I'm learning how to feed. I'm learning how to play. So he's kind of like taking up a lot of mental space right now. So that's the first thing I'm gonna go to. But besides that, like just finished 1 year of marriage. The ring. My anniversary was December 18th, and so it was a wonderful year. I mean, I grew a lot.
How long you been married?
1 year.
1 year.
Yeah. Thank you.
We can clap it up for 1 year, man. We honor marriages around here. We need to celebrate people when they achieve just anniversaries. When they make it another year, it's such a blessing because it's a lot of marriages that are falling apart right now, and so we want to make sure that we just honor marriages and we uphold marriages, because the Lord does that. But anyway, didn't mean to cut you off.
I mean, I notice like in church, whenever somebody says like I've been married like 35 years, everybody claps. I'm like, if you've been married a week, clap. I'm not like for real. It's like, cause it can like be just a little thing in a day that can try and like wreck everything. I notice it's the little things you have to learn to adjust to and deal with.
Yeah.
And then you can avoid so much if you just focus on the bigger picture. That's one of the things I've learned being married, is how to adjust to somebody else's rhythms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Cool. So, dog, Snow, marriage anniversary.
I'm working at Grip.
Working at Grip. Shout out to Grip. Shout out to Grip.
Which is where we're shooting right now. So that's I work at Grip as programming production coordinator. So if you're not familiar with Grip and what we do, it's all about the youth, all about mentorship. And we do that in a couple of different ways around the city of Chicago. We hold events for the youth, kind of fun, kind of mentorship volunteer events called SLAM, where we try and pair kids with a mentor. And we do that around the city of Chicago Mondays and Wednesdays, be it at Moody Bible College or By the Hand in Chicago. And so we have the events that we do. We also have events we do in the school for the kids, cookies and convos. I mean, all of this is on the website, so you can get a much more thorough breakdown of what Grip does, and they do wonderful work, and I'm proud to be a part of it. But why I love working at Grip is that I get to work behind the scenes. And as a production coordinator, I get to both work and serve what marketing and communication does and their vision, and also get to help structure and bring like the live events to life. And so I get to use like my background in film, and I get to learn a bunch of new techniques about live production, so I mean, it's a lot. I never thought I would be doing this much, but it's a good lot, It's a lot, but it's a good lot. So.
Hey, look, man, Ray is fire. His videos, they be fire.
I agree.
Like he does his thing.
That's the truth.
He does his thing. So, and he's continuing to grow. I remember the first video all the way up to the newest video. It's like you see him growing. Each video gets better and better. So, yeah, he's definitely talented dude. Man, seeming that like we're gonna be diving into the word. We're gonna be talking about a lot of Bible verses and scripture. You being a Christian, do you have a life verse or like a favorite verse from the Bible?
The one I probably quote the most is, "God is not the author of confusion, but of peace." I quote that one the most because, like a lot of people say, they're very mental. And I'm somebody that like, sometimes it feels like I have to untangle a lot of knots up here. Okay. Or I have to let the word untangle a lot of knots. So any scripture that deals with mind, or that deals with the mind and overcoming like mental hurdles. So think on those things that are truthful, noble, righteous, pure, lovely, admirable, excellent, and praiseworthy. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And of course, God is not the author of confusion. So whenever I run into a confusing situation, I would literally have to stop myself and just kind of, to me, like the word defines itself as a mirror. So whenever I quote the word, I envision myself, or I use my imagination. I say, I'm holding up a mirror and I'm reminding myself of who I really am. So when I say that, God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. So God authored me. I'm his creation. So I'm not somebody that really is prone to confusion. And being confused is not in my new nature as a new creature. So that's something I use to steady myself.
I like that, man. That's it's one of them mic drop moments, man. I never heard nobody talk about confusion in that way. I heard the verse many of times, but to have you explain it and making it personal like that, that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. Before I give the people like my reasoning for wanting you to be on, I want you to share why you chose.
Could I ask real quick though, do you have a life verse?
I have a couple of verses. I would say mine. I think about off the top of my head. Like,
Or is there one that you've been like leaning on a lot, like lately, that you've been drawing strength from?
well, I mean, our foundation verse, definitely. I've been leaning on that a lot. So, foundation verse, I have it here on the sweater, and it is 1 Peter 3:15. And this verse pretty much means that we need to be ready to give a reason why we believe or why we have the faith that we have in Christ Jesus. And we need to do those things with gentleness and with respect for others. And so we live in a culture where, man, there's so many people, they take the extreme side. There's no grace, there's no love. It's just like, hey, condemning people, or you live this lifestyle, or you believe in this, and then they're just like condemning you to hell, right? Their approach isn't with love. And I believe a lot of those people have misrepresented Christ. Like they're bad witnesses to what the Bible actually calls us to and tells us who to be. And so when you eliminate grace and it's just about like all these works and about all these other things, it just becomes religion. Like there's no relationship. And so as Christians, we know that this is not a works-based salvation. This is not, it's not about doing so that we can achieve, but it's about receiving the grace, accepting that grace, and because of that grace, following Jesus and understanding his relationship. And I think a lot of people just get that twisted where they don't know how to come at people with compassion, with love. And then some of those people don't even know how to explain their own faith or their own salvation to the person that they're trying to talk to. And so we live in a culture where that is just running rampant. You're either on this side or you're on that side. You're either, if you don't agree all with what I say or what I do, then you're my enemy, right? Instead of coming and having a conversation and finding a middle ground, finding a common ground and staying balanced. And as we continue to work together, we'll hear that a lot of me saying like, stay balanced. Because I think that you have to stay balanced. There's going to be many people in heaven, right? People who are black, white, Hispanic, Asian, and they're all some of them might be Calvinists, some of them might be Armenians, some of them might
Protestant,
be Protestants and Baptists and all these other different denominations. But if they love Jesus is the reason why they're there. And so the way they're grown up and they're different things that they might struggle with, it is, it's important to understand it and dive deep into that. And I strongly believe in being able to have conversations with someone and doing it respectfully. I genuinely want to know what people believe and why they believe what they believe, even if they're not Christian. Like even if they're Muslim or if they're, Jewish and they fall into like the Jewish Orthodox or whatever it is, like I want to know why you believe that. Where'd you get that idea from? And then I want to talk about it and process it and dive deep into it. And I believe that we're called to do that with love and with respect, whether they're Christian or not. Like we need to have a gentle approach. And so right now, this is the verse and just trying to like, how do I do that, right? Like, how do I if you see somebody like falling into a certain sin, how do you approach it with love and understanding why they do what they do instead of just saying, hey, you're wrong. And that's a sin and you need to repent, you need to turn, you need to do all these other things. But it's like, man, how did you get to that? And I think because I'm a parent of 5 kids, that's my approach with my kids. Because it's like, man, where'd you get that thought from? Especially if it's something that they haven't seen me or their mother do, or they haven't learned it from us. So like, where'd you get that thought from? Or why do you feel like that? And so just believe that as Christians, man, that's what we're called to do. And so that's the verse that I've been just trying to practice. And having this podcast, having this YouTube channel gives me the opportunity to do that. So,
Real quick, I know we have like the interview question for me, but what's like one of the most interesting conversations you've had so far?
like on this channel or just period?
Just on this channel, like going, using that like what you just talked about, like, you know.
So I had an interview with a young woman. Her name is Sarah Lent, and
What up, Sarah?
shout outs to Sarah. Hopefully
If
she's watching
she's
this.
watching.
If she's watching, her story was so interesting to me because she grew up in this extreme denomination, and then to hear her story of how she came out of that, it just like blew my mind. Like it was just so interesting on how people can grow up and adapt certain qualities and certain ways of living, and then when they come out of that, especially like the extreme view, right? Just being able to realize, like, man, it's not about all these things that these people are talking about. Like, man, I've been walking kind of this path, and it's led me to where I am today. But I picked up certain qualities, I picked up certain thought processes. But just her story is just amazing. So shout outs to Sarah. And if you haven't seen that video, go watch it. It's on the it's in the videos. So her name's Sarah Lent. Her story was one of the most interesting ones that I've done this year. Well, last year, because we're in 2023 now.
And we are in 2023.
Yeah.
Good reminder. You could have said me too. You know, I was on your podcast.
Well, I mean, you're here.
True.
Like, you're the new
like,
co-host
the
now.
episode I was on, you could have said that blew my mind.
Well, I got other reasons on why
True.
I chose you that I'll get into, but I mean, you want all the attention. I'm just messing with you, man. I'm just messing with
a good
you.
amount. I want 10% of the
10%? All right, we
attention.
could do that. I could do 10%. We could do 10%.
Tithe of the attention.
Huh? You want 10% of the time?
Yes.
All right, for sure. You're going to get more than that.
I do not want to get struck by lightning over that comment. I'm sorry, Jesus. You keep the 10%.
Oh, man. So, we was about to get into something before you threw me off. Why did you choose to join this podcast?
All right. When you asked me to do the Weird Perspective podcast, you gave me the reasons. You said our contrasting backgrounds. You said you liked my creativity, how I walked out my faith. But on top of that, like once I heard all that and once I thought about it, I kind of stepped away. And I said, you know what? I have always kind of wanted to be on the podcast. That has kind of been a dream of mine. I like discussing. Well, I come from like a film background, so I love discussing movies. I also love music. I love discussing music, and I love discussing those things in the Christian context. So I have always wanted to have an opportunity to just discuss artistic things with Christians. So there was that. So I have always like had that desire to start a podcast. So there's that. There's also this is something new I've been doing, but something God kind of convicted me about is whenever I'm asked to do something, if my automatic response is no, and what's driving that response is fear, then I should probably do it. You know, because when Derry asked that, I thought of all the different reasons why I shouldn't. I thought of time management. I thought of all the different new responsibilities I have. I thought of serving at Grip. Newly married. I'm still working that out. My wife has a business that she's doing that, I do what I can with. She's a teacher, so I'm not licensed to teach. She teaches STEM, but like just being there to support her. But then I'm like, it was fear. I knew, like, I think deep down I knew I could do it. I just needed to say yes and then trust God that He would provide me the strength, that He would help me balance my time. And so that's why I came aboard. And also He's really given Derry a lot of grace because it's never once felt like a chore to do this. It's never felt like, Derry's asking too much or that, this is going to take up all of my life. This enriches my life. It's not really a drain on me. The episode I've recorded with Derry, setting all of this up, getting the questions together, choosing the topics we're going to talk about, that's actually been a joy. It hasn't been a drain. So saying yes to things I would normally say no to, and then also having always wanted a podcast, those are the reasons why I chose to come aboard.
Dope. The reasons why I chose Ray, and I really prayed on this because when I first thought about having a podcast, which was over 3 years ago, this was right before COVID, is when it really hit me to be like, man, I should do a podcast. I still got the picture that I shared. I took a picture of myself with a microphone, and I was like, man, if I did a podcast, would anybody listen to it? And I never had confidence in myself to speak, especially publicly or in front of people or talk to people. It was never anything that I felt like strongly or passionate about. But I wanted to do this because I wanted to be able to articulate the gospel and have conversations with different people about different topics. And I want them to be filtered through the word. And I strongly believe in Christian creators, like doing things in excellence. And so because I struggle with being a perfectionist, it took me a long time to even launch this podcast. And once I did, I always knew who I wanted to do it with. And that was my guy, Eddie. Just because we're a lot alike, very, very similar. But we have very interesting differences. And I think that we can just hold a conversation and talk about pretty much anything like all day. And so I was like, I want to be able to have a co-host that I can bounce things off of, that'll challenge me, I could challenge him, and we could do these things. And everything that we do can be filtered through the word. And so he was always going to be my first option. And then we did season 1, and I learned a lot. And then I think you guys are going to be able to see the growth in this season. And so again, shout out to my brother Eddie. And he's doing his thing right now. He's not here for personal reasons. And so just allowing him the peace and the time that he needs to be able to deal with what he's dealing with. And so I was like, man, I could continue to do this. And for a long time, I had off season and I interviewed different people for different reasons. And I was like, man, season 2, how are we going to do this? What is it going to look like? And so I was like, okay, man, let me think about a person. So I just started praying. And then I did the interview with you. And I was like, okay, other than us being black and being bald and having beards, I was like, there was something about Ray that stuck out. So our differences in our upbringing, right? I'm a city kid, right? Single parent household, shout out to my mom. And then him being a kid from the suburbs, growing up in a 2-parent household. Both of us grew up Christian, right? Grew up in probably similar church settings.
Evangelical,
yeah.
kind of.
But when you live in the suburbs and when you live in the city and single parent, like it's still a difference there. And so my life experiences and the things that I've been through, things I've been exposed to, and the things that he's been exposed to, like we just have a difference. I love music. He loves movies. And so just the difference. And like all of those things just came together. So I was like, man, I wrote a list and literally there was only 2 people on that list that I was like, man, I would do a podcast with. And his name was on the top. And then the man behind the camera that none of you guys see was my little brother who I was thinking about. Shout out to Adam. Adam helps put all this and runs all this. So he's the man behind the camera. You guys don't see him, but I was like, man, if I do it, who can I do it with? So I was like, man, but Ray met all the things because I feel like we could just have a conversation, and I feel like he'll challenge me, and I'll be able to challenge him, and we could do those things in love and with respect for each other, and then also being willing to go to the word and have the word be the final say-so on what we talk about, you know what I'm saying, or decisions or whatever it is. And so that's why I chose Ray. We were the same age, right?
34.
I'm 34, he's 34. What's your birthday?
September 1st.
And so I am 11 days, 12
Before me?
days before you. You said September 1st?
Mhm.
Yeah, my birthday's August 20th. So we got almost a Leo Virgo
I don't know-
connection
I don't
thing
know
going
what
on.
that
I don't really
means.
go into that stuff, but
See,
yeah.
don't get like, I don't want the comment section to be a bunch of Christians saying that's demonic. and
Yeah,
cannot talk
I'm
about,
just
you
throwing
know.
it out there. But anyway, our birthdays are close, same age, South Side, North Side, city boy. So he met every day, and he's super creative. So not only was we're going to be able to talk about things, but he adds value on the creativity side of it, where he knows about videos, he knows about pictures, he can see things that I don't. And I don't like to be the smartest person in the room. If I'm the smartest person in the room, then that means it's time for me to get into a different room with people who are smarter than me so I can continue to grow. And
Dang,
so
that's good.
having him come aboard, I'm like, man, I'm gonna be learning more things that I probably wouldn't learn if I was around, if I'm not around him. And so, yeah, man, and he's dope, he's creative, and I just think that he was the perfect fit. And we work together, so we're gonna see each other all the time. We're able to bounce ideas off each other. And so that's how all this came together.
And real quick, that's something I'm learning at Grip, but learning from you too is how to learn. Because I used to be so insecure, like with stuff I didn't know, to the point where someone would try and instruct me about stuff. It's not the fact that I would feel kind of haughty or feel like I knew everything. It was just that I would feel so bad because, or I would feel so insecure, like the fact that you're explaining, the fact that you have to explain this to me says something bad about my character. It speaks ill of me. But you know, you can read up and down Proverbs, you know, about how embracing correction, you know, like a fool shuns correction, you know, the wise man. And it's like, I really have to go to God, you know, about like giving me a heart to learn, to be someone who just has a teachable heart. That's kind of what I've really been learning in this season at Grip and from you. I love what you just said about if you are in a room and you're the smartest person in the room, go to a different room so you can continue learning, you know, so. And that's something that, like, even now when I'm talking with somebody, I keep reminding myself I don't always have to have something to say. I can sit there and I can listen to somebody like share their heart, and then just like if I don't say anything sometimes, that's cool too. You know, so.
Cool. Yeah, that's dope. So yeah, I just want to continue to grow. I want to continue to do this in excellence. And so you guys are gonna see that, like, I've made changes to my setup at home, lights and, you know, cameras, and just trying to give you guys, show you guys growth. And then also in the material, the way I study, the way I present it, and how I talk, my cadence, like just trying to do everything in excellence, man. I want people to be entertained, but I also want them to learn from our podcast and what we're gonna present. So that's cool, man. What topics are you most excited about tackling this season?
I gravitate towards talking about anything having to do with the culture, how Christians engage with the culture, be it social issues, but more creative stuff. How do Christians create? How do they express themselves artistically? What is Christian music? What are Christian movies? Because that's what I'm most passionate about. That's what I most want to do is create like Christian film. So I love talking with people. I mean, my first question when I meet someone is like, what's their favorite movie? Like that's my go-to. And I don't think that tells me everything about a person, but it just one it like it besides like questions that go a lot deeper, it kind of frees them up to be a little bit more silly because people love talking movies. So that's my go-to. But just Christians can be a little bit weird when it comes to art. Either they're too afraid to really express how they feel artistically, and so they end up making like subpar stuff, or they just don't engage at all. They think all art is sinful, and that like they
yeah,
should
that's
have
a
nothing to do with it. So I love
that's a
I
big one.
love engaging and debating with Christians about art. So like how like Christian creatives, and besides that, I love talking about relationship stuff. As a married man now, I'm not saying I have all the experience in the world, but I love sitting with other couples, especially, and just talking about dating, talking about marriage, talking about sex, how they navigate those things. And besides that, what I really like talking about, and this will sound kind of weird, I really like talking about my flaws and my weaknesses. Um, One, because for me, I don't know if this is true of a lot of people, but they're really hard to hide. Like I can be demonstratively awkward sometimes, given the situation. Super sweaty, super weird. You've probably seen so far in the live cast, I've stumbled over my words a lot, or somewhat. But rather than shy away from that, I kind of sometimes, if I'm talking to somebody, I'll just lean into it. I'll just be like, yo, man, sometimes I can feel extremely socially awkward. I can feel extremely weird. I talk with people about that because I think sometimes people either hope you don't notice that, or they'll just like, or they'll just try very hard not to let that show. And I love talking with people about that stuff because sometimes I think people need that release. Like they'll come back to me and they'll say, man, I've struggled with social anxiety too. I've struggled with fear and shyness too. So I love talking about weaknesses um, and my flaws. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. I think transparency is extremely important, and I think that when we're transparent and we make ourselves open in that way, where we're an open book to people, like it just breaks any tension. It lets people be like, oh man, they're being real with me. I remember when the person, my pastor who's discipling me, first meeting that we had when we was talking about discipleship, he came into my living room and then he was just like, here's the things that I struggle with. Here's the things that I've done. He didn't come in with like this, I'm holier than thou approach. He was very real and transparent with me, and it helped me to be transparent with him. And our relationship was able just to build from there, because I wasn't like, man, he ain't letting me into none of his garbage. I know he got some, and so I ain't gonna let him know everything about me. It gave me like permission to be like, all right, I'm transparent now too. And so yeah, I think that's dope. I definitely want to talk about premarital counseling and the importance of it.
Yeah.
I think that is something that has, as Christians, we've dropped the ball on that. Like premarital counseling, after you see people get divorced over elections, like, yo, what's going on here? Like people ain't having real conversations. They're not talking about these real things of like, politics. Do you believe in whooping and spanking? What's your disciplinary actions? What do you believe? Like people ain't having those conversations. Just like, I like you, there's an attraction, and then like, okay, we love each other, all the butterflies, let's get married. And they haven't had any real conversation.
True.
And I think, man, we need to get back to that. So I'm very excited to talk about that. And a whole bunch of other things, man. I got like 2 years of ideas if
like
we
what
did a
the
podcast every
my
week.
bad. But like on like the marital stuff, what I love about that too is like what the right type of marital counseling is and what the wrong type is. Because me and my wife, we went through 2 sessions of marital counseling. One with the couple that married us, the pastor and his wife that married us, and then with a bunch of couples at my old church. And that was wonderful because it was basically just couples mentoring us. I've seen the scared straight version of marital counseling where they come in sackcloth and ashes and they like just try and scare like this. It's every day is terrible, every day is a struggle, and then but we just had a bunch of couples being real with us. They talked about the fights, they talked about the struggles, and they talked about the joy. They talked about they basically just were real with us, you know, and that life on life like we do here. So yeah. But I'm excited to get to that. Didn't mean to interrupt.
No. It's good because I know me and my wife, we've taken 3 like group marriage classes together, and then the couple that was doing counseling with us when we first started, when we first was talking about marriage, and I had proposed and all that. It was definitely needed and it was helpful. It was a blessing. I don't think we would still be married today if we didn't go through those classes, if we didn't have those real tough conversations with the people who were counseling and mentoring us. Shout outs to Phil and Tasha as well for all the time and energy they poured into us during that time. So really, really appreciate them. They always have just a place in my heart for them. And so I want you to tell us, what are some of the things that you are like most passionate about? Give us like 3 things that you're really passionate about, and just take your time talking about that.
I'll start with, this is in no particular order except for one.
Keep talking. I got the bathroom.
Number 1 would be movies. I'm really passionate about film. I've wanted to be a filmmaker since I was 13, and I watched a behind the scenes documentary on the DVD, George Lucas, Star Wars Episode 1, and I watched him walking around and basically dreaming while he was awake, and I was like, man, I really want to do that. So basically everything, it's been a lot of hills and valleys towards that goal. I mean, Grip, funny enough, is like a major step towards that, and I'm kind of realizing how God is using this season to kind of like teach me a lot of techniques and a lot of just technical know-how about how to make movies. I can share my testimony at another time, but like I took a long detour towards my education. But I'm super passionate about film, not just for the technical sense, but the allegorical sense. I love storytelling. So if somebody asks me, you know, you want to be a director, you want to make movies, I would say I want to be a storyteller. I love the fact that the story can go beyond race, can go beyond age, can go beyond any demographic, and you can have a bunch of people. Well, nowadays people mostly watch on Netflix, but back in the day, the old adage used to be a bunch of people get into a dark room and share one common story. And especially as a Christian, I really relate to that because we all have one Bible. And it's literally called the greatest story ever told, but I love the different ways Jesus shows up in culture, in movies. Like one of my favorite movies is The Matrix, which is like has strong Christian allegories, strong allusions to Christ. Because I think one, it just shows how people are kind of searching and pointing themselves towards it without even knowing. But it just sets up the conversations you can have around movies. Are just so enthralling to me. The technique it takes to make them just is constantly inspiring. So, yeah, I really love movies. Big fan of music. I wish I knew how to play an instrument, because whenever I tell somebody I'm really into music, they say, "What do you play?" And I just say I'm more like I like listening. I think I have a pretty good ear for what I like.
What's your favorite genre?
Jazz.
Jazz?
Yeah.
Okay.
Favorite genre is jazz. I'll tell you my favorite artist. I know that's a question coming up, but my favorite genre is jazz. And but I like a lot of stuff. I do like hip hop. I like classical. I like old like Dusties. I mean, we are in Chicago, so stuff they would play for like stepper sets. So Motown. I've been getting into Malayalam music. Malayalam music. Apologies to my wife if she's watching. But that's her culture now. So I married a woman who's of Indian descent or South Asian descent. So I'm kind of learning about a different style of music now. So, love music, love movies. Also, I'm really passionate about Jesus. Yeah, I heard someone laugh in the background. Go to hell. No, I'm just kidding. No, he's going to heaven. I just said go to hell on a live stream. Dear Lord, if anyone's watching who knows the real me, I'm just kidding.
It gets real. This is, I mean, this live, man.
I meant every word I said. No, I'm just kidding. No, but no, I'm really passionate about Jesus. Why? Because he saved my life. No, that's kind of cliche. The reason why I'm really passionate about Jesus is I had to so identify with what he did for me. I was at a point in my life where I couldn't identify with any accolades. I couldn't identify with anything concerning my race. I couldn't identify with my personality. I couldn't identify with anything that people would normally look to build confidence in. And I looked at everything in my life and I saw it as completely worthless. And I saw myself as worthless as a result. This more goes into my testimony, but I had to really kind of step back and say, well, there's nothing here for me based on my own effort and anything I accomplished. It just kind of leaves me feeling really depressed and, not wanting to be here. But if I shift my perspective and I say, okay, that's what I think about me. What does Jesus think about me? Well, you're not ugly. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. You're not a mess. I make everything beautiful in its time. When I make something, I call it good. You're not an orphan. You're not someone who is worthless. I have good works prepared for you since the creation, since the foundation of the world. That's what it says in the word. So on and so forth. The reason why I love Jesus so much is because that's my identity. That's how I live and that's how I do life. So, yeah, there you go.
Dope. Amen. You over here touching heartstrings and stuff. So going back to the question, who you listening to and what are you watching right now? What's the artist?
Okay, I'll start with watching because the show Wednesday was recommended to me.
Okay, yeah, I watched Wednesday. I checked that out.
Shout out to Mike. And I wanted to, because I was trying, I try and connect with everybody at my place of work, and I try and connect over some piece of media. Like me and Sarah, we talk about classical music. I'm trying to get into anime to connect with Will, because I know Will talks about anime. I am a fan of anime, but Mike was talking about Wednesday. Mike Spataro, our brilliant Marcom just guru.
Shout out to Mike.
And who, thank you for the advice on the setup if you're watching. We're going to leave this all out for you to put away, by the way. No, we won't. But Mike kept talking about the show Wednesday. And, he was like, well, Ray, I know you a film dude. And I don't think my sister's watching right now, but see, in my household, Addams Family Values, the sequel. We love Addams Family, and I mean the movies from back in the day, 1991, 1993. Yeah. Starring Raul Julia, Angelica Houston, Christina Ricci. I'll get back to her in a second. If you may not remember the movies, you remember Addams Family Groove by MC Hammer. A great song. MC Hammer gets a lot of hate. We should not hate on, this is a completely out of left field. We should not hate on MC Hammer so much. He just wanted to entertain people and dance. And he could actually rhyme, but that's beside the point. Anyway, I'm really familiar with the character of Wednesday from Addams Family and Addams Family Values. Christina Ricci, as a 13-year-old girl, killed that part. One of the most sardonic, sarcastic, acidic, hilarious portrayals of just being over it I've ever seen on a movie screen. And so when they announced Wednesday, I mean, if you've seen Addams Family Value, get on YouTube, type in Addams Family Value Wednesday, and just watch a 9-minute compilation of her cutting people to pieces with words. It's one of the funniest things, like even out of context, it's hilarious. So they announced Wednesday. Tim Burton is a creator behind the show. I'm a huge Tim Burton fan.
Okay.
He did the OG Batman 1989.
Okay.
With Jack Nicholson. Edward Scissorhands. Edward Scissorhands is one of my favorite movies. And so in the 90s, he could do no wrong, in my opinion. You know, he's kind of going off the track a little bit to me. So he's creating the show. You got the young lady Jenny Ortega. You know, when I saw like the promotional stills and everything, I was like, well, she got the Wednesday look, but the Wednesday look does not a character make. You know, you're gonna have a bunch of girls dressing up as Wednesday this Halloween,
Right.
And Megan from the new Killer Android movie. You're gonna have Wednesday and Megan, just like you had Harley Quinn a couple of Halloweens ago, and we will keep seeing Harley Quinn until Jesus comes back.
I mean,
that's just
we were seeing it before the movie became popular.
True,
we were seeing
true
it.
that.
So,
No. But she kind of cemented that look, though. You know,
Yeah.
Margot Robbie. Anyway, so I'm like, let me give Wednesday a try. Let me give it a fair shake. They basically took Wednesday, the character, and turned her into a CW sitcom, teenage angst. You know, it's like this ain't Riverdale. You know, if you, like to me, they got the character so wrong. How about this? It's not that they got the character wrong. You like do with the character what you want to. But if there's a more superior version of that character in another piece of media, I would never say, yo, of all the Addams family.
Sorry.
Oh, no, Siri disagrees with me. I would
That's
never.
so random.
I'm gonna smash this watch.
Oh my goodness, this
She's
is
like,
the
"I'm
stuff
sorry."
that you only get on live streams because
No, hold up.
the watch said. What did the watch say?
The watch said, "I'm
The
sorry."
watch
like,
said, "I'm
like,
sorry" in the middle of him talking like, "I'm sorry, you're wrong." Like, nah, I disagree.
Or I'm sorry, like they wrote the script. Like,
They be,
like
hey,
Siri
let
wrote
you
it.
know that the phones really be listening.
All my phone hears is just me praying in the spirit a bunch and just like, why is he talking in a foreign language?
No, that was funny though. That was funny.
Okay, but back to my very important point about Wednesday. You'll notice that about me. Sometimes when there's a break in the conversation, and then it will like start up again, I'll be like, and back to my very important point. Anyway, Wednesday kind of let me down because they got the character to me wrong. Like Christina Ricci killed it. I know they had her up in the show in like a cameo role, but there's just a much better version of that character in a movie that was made in 1993. Wednesday is not a teenage kind of angst-filled girl. You know, she's not like she's too smart. The thing about Wednesday was that she was just smarter than everyone she was around. Yeah, she had a darkness about her, but it's just like she just didn't have time for their BS. She just saw through everyone. This Wednesday is just kind of like, you know, like teenage girl over it. And plus the dance is overrated. All right, it's bad dancing. Dang it. All right, that's all I got. If you want to see, okay, check this out. Y'all remember that song, Whoop, Whoop, There It Is?
Whoop, there it is.
Yeah. Who made that?
Man, I don't know. I can't recall the artist right now, but
I was about to say the Yin Yang Twins. It's not no, they're twins.
stop it.
No.
Stop it. You'll get your music card
sorry.
revoked, bro.
They're twins. They're larger twins. Anyway, they made, okay, so Addams Family 1 had MC Hammer. Addams Family 2 had the Whoop, There It Is, Addams Family style. Christina Ricci as Wednesday, look up the music video. She was busting the move up in that music video. Better than in Wednesday. I got another hour worth of Wednesday commentary. Derry just looked like if this Negro don't stop talking about Wednesday. Anyway, we'll move on. Oh, okay, one last point about Wednesday.
Okay.
She did not care about the whole thing about her, like her relationship with Pugsley is just weird in the show, because in the movie it's like she would legit kick her brother down the stairs just to see his neck snap. And here it's like this weird kind of, okay, but go ahead. But yeah.
I mean, this shows you
Sorry.
how passionate Ray is, that he just went on a whole thing about Wednesday, a new show on Netflix, and then gave you the whole history. So obviously he knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's looking for in movies. And so another reason on why he is my co-host, not just about movies, but because I know he's gonna do his homework and actually bring like legit things. Cause I don't know I probably know those people, but I've never seen those people. I mean, I know who they are, but I can't say their names. Everybody who knows me knows that I'm bad with names. Like, I'm terrible with names.
We'll work on that.
So I'm gonna work on that, especially dealing with kids. I have to remember names. So anyway, yeah, one of his passions. But you never got to the music. Never got to the music.
I've been trying to have more like good Christian rap on my playlist. Especially, I'm getting back into the gym now, like for the summer, and like I want to have more like Christian stuff pumping into me. But I can't listen to a lot of the Christian rap. Let me stop myself. I was about to say because it's all terrible. It's not all terrible.
Because I was gonna ask who you listening to.
Who am I listening to?
Do I need to send you a playlist?
No. Well, please send me a playlist. Hold up. I'm listening to. I can look this up right now.
I gotta see who this guy's listening to, because there are amazing Christian artists.
This Naladeus, Knaladeus. Naladeus.
Well, first, let me ask this question: what are you, when you say Christian hip hop? Like, what do you mean when you say Christian hip hop? Like, what are you expecting to hear if you hear somebody who says, "I'm a Christian artist and I have music"? What are you expecting to hear in that music?
I'm expecting to hear painfully on the nose lyrics with zero subtext, and just like a lack of style in delivery, a lack of lyrical dexterity. Kendrick Lamar got 36 personalities he can rap through to, and all of them are brilliant. Christians just have one like personality. Jesus. I mean, look, I don't mean to paint. There are some dope Christian rappers. I'm not trying to paint with a broad stroke. All I'm saying is that like I expect to hear on the nose stuff. What sucks though, what I really hate to hear are subpar beats. That's why the gentleman I just mentioned. I mean you can look him up. I spelt it out. The dude I just mentioned, the thing that stood out to him the most to me was the beats were actually like excellent. Like the beats were amazing.
Okay. I think the beat thing is, we passed. I think we grew and graduated.
How so?
Because I look at artists that, number one, you can buy beats. There's multiple websites where you can get dope beats and you can buy them. And you can buy them for the low. You can lease them, you can rent them, whatever you want to do. So I think there's just a plethora of dope beats that people can get and they can listen to. So I think lyrics, that's a different, because it all depends on what kind of lyrics you like.
If you were to ask me what type of hip hop fan,
so I'm gonna name an artist, and I want you to say yay or nay.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go. Andy Mineo.
Yay.
Okay. Lecrae.
Yeah.
Eshon Burgundy.
I have no idea who that is.
So Eshon Burgundy. All right. So I'll send you some Eshon Burgundy.
Did you make that up?
No, his name is Eshon Burgundy.
Okay. Eshon.
Eshon.
Okay. Eshon.
He's one of my favorite Christian hip hop. I know some people who watching this who really pay attention. They're probably gonna be like, but he has some theological issues, but his music is dope in its own point. Anyway, keeping going. What about Bizzle?
I've heard of him, but I've not heard a Bizzle song.
Okay.
Yeah.
People like Dayton, he signed to Bizzle.
I've heard Dayton.
What about Brian Trejo?
I've not heard Brian Trejo.
Okay, so
I've heard I know Trip Lee.
Those are OG 116 guys. Okay. So they literally,
I know mostly like 116.
It was like Cross Movement, and then it was like 116.
I've
so
heard
it was
Cross
like
Movement.
Then you got the Show Baraka.
He's actually he's very interesting. Show Baraka.
Okay.
Because he's like Lecrae after like white evangelical Christians were done with him, and Lecrae just became I listen to some of Show Baraka stuff, and I'm like, dang, this is like what they play at the church in Wakanda, like up in there. But yeah, he's actually very, very good, So I'll give him props.
So I'm gonna get you. Listen, man, I'm gonna get Ray some music. Those of y'all who know me, I have like a playlist. My playlist that I have currently is like almost at 1,000 songs. Songs that I like.
That's like
So it's
every
like
Christian hip hop song. Just as they make a new one, you just add another like one. These are all the Christian hip hop songs. No, I'm just kidding.
So we'll get
Please
Ray.
share
We'll get
with
Ray
me,
caught
yes.
up to like actual good Christian hip hop, and then we'll have this conversation again with like other co-hosts. Co-workers of ours that don't know good Christian hip hop and don't think that is out there. So there's a lot of new young guys. They still gotta grow. I think if you just became a Christian, I think you should wait 3 years before you start making music, just so you can grow in your theology and your doctrine and know what you actually believe before you just start saying, "I keep the canon on me, the 66 books." Like that's like the most. That's the lie that everybody says though.
I've
You
heard that.
agree?
Yeah, I've heard that.
I think
that
I think
sums
since
up
like
95%
2000, since like
of Christian
2000,
hip hop.
since like 2000, all the way up to now, at least 7 artists have said that in a song. Like either I keep the canon on me, or I got the thing on me. I keep 66 clips of whatever. It's just a real cliche bar now. People stop saying it. Just stop saying it. Okay? Let's retire that. Let's come up with something else to identify the Bible as a gun or reference the Bible as a gun. Whatever. They use it in the context of like shooting demons or killing demons, but whatever.
Of course they do. Yeah, of course they do.
It's kind of just played out. But there's some OGs that are still extremely relevant that got fire beats, fire bars, and they're able to articulate the gospel in their music in everything that's going on, right? And contextualize it in things that's going on in our nation, in the world, whatever it is. So I'll put you up on them, okay?
Well, give me your top 5 Christian rappers.
Eshawn, Lecrae.
We're starting at number 1 in DC.
Nah, this isn't in any order. I had to think on that. We could talk about that when we talk about when we do the video on
Christian music.
Christian music. Well, I'll give you my top 5 then. But in order. So right now, Eshawn, Lecrae, Bizzle. I like Brian Trejo. I know some people be like, man, he's kind of like old or his music sounds a little dated, but more importantly is the bars. Like he can really rap. I like Brian Trejo. And then I would say KB. It might change. Maybe one or 2 of those might change, but for the most part, that's my top 5.
Aha Gazelle is good.
He's good. I heard him. He was on a couple of. He used to be signed to 116. I don't know what happened, but anyway.
I mean, he has a lot more freedom that I've heard like than other Christian rappers have.
So some of his music, I listen to it and I'm like, is this a Christian song? Or I didn't hear anything about Jesus or the Bible. I'm not one of them dudes where I need you to say Jesus 16 times in your song.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But I should be able to identify what you're talking about.
No, man, it's like I don't need the doctor when I see him at Pete's Fresh Market to be wearing a stethoscope and his doctor. I don't need you to keep saying it. You can rap about Lupe Fiasco made a song about dinosaurs. God made dinosaurs, right?
I didn't know Lupe did a song.
And it's
about
brilliant.
dinosaurs.
It's called Dinosaurs, and it's just there's layers to it, but it's like God made. So if Lecrae made a song about dinosaurs, we should just play that on the live stream right now. No, but like
it's copyright, man. We'll get flagged and they'll take this video down.
But that's one of the like critiques I really hate is that like, man, did he say Jesus in a song? I'm like, so a Christian's faith is only validated if you're a Christian car mechanic.
Well, Christians didn't. Jesus didn't even always, when he taught the disciples, he didn't say, "Hey, the book of Isaiah says this," or the Torah says that. He taught in parables.
He was the word. He didn't have to keep fronting on it. If you are it, you don't have to. He talked
to them in things that they can understand. Yes. So I'll make you fishers of men, right? All those things like Jesus did. He didn't necessarily say,
"That's a good."
Have you heard in the Psalms or when he was talking to the disciples? And so I think being able to, I should know that you're talking about some type of context of the Bible or a story or something about that relates to God through your music. Because there's Christian R&B artists. They're talking about love, and you could be like, are they talking about God or are they talking about a woman? But it's it's on point with
But
either
if-
one.
But okay.
Unless you're talking about just being intimate with a woman, then obviously. But if you're talking about like love and this deep intimacy and these feelings that you have, and then so you're like, oh, you're talking about God, his relationship with God. Oh, okay,
But
cool.
if it wasn't him talking about God, but it was just him talking about like how like bad his wife is, bad in a good way, would it be any less sanctified? If there was a song called "The Marriage Bed" and it was like
no, because
just
God
him
gave us marriage, and I think we need to take marriage back.
not
And stop looking at sex as some like disgusting thing.
True,
right?
true, we
and
do, we
obviously
do.
we ain't gonna be just putting that off onto kids, but as mature Christian, we should be able to talk about sex comfortably. It's literally a gift and a blessing from the Lord.
True.
So we should be able to talk about it openly, obviously, respectfully and responsible responsible. But sex is not disgusting. The devil has took sex and he's ran with it and he's turned it into what he's turned it into. And as Christians, we need to prioritize having real conversations about sex in the context of the word, and
But
not be scared to do it neither. Like,
But to that point, I'm waiting for like the Christian hip hop artist to drop the song about sex in his career.
I mean, Andy said some stuff about sex. He said a couple bars.
Like Lecrae had a song in Misconception 4 where he talked about I ain't been missionary since the honeymoon. And I was like, dang,
I forgot about that
remember
bar.
And I was like, that was to me that was very.
That's good though.
It shocked me for a second, but why
Slid
not?
some up
It's
in
not
there.
it's not dirty, it's not nasty, but that would probably lose him some fans though. You probably
I
got
was
people.
like, well, I'm talking about
know.
with my wife, so I mean, like I said, we real serious. I mean, we going deep dive into this whole thing.
That's gonna be a fun episode.
That's gonna be a
though,
fun
so
episode
yes,
to talk about that. But yeah, I mean,
Any recommendations you have for good Christian?
hey, drop who you listening to. You watching this live? Drop it in the chat. Who you listening to like right now? Who your favorite artist is, or what album you listening to currently? Drop it in the chat. And so
I'm gonna expose a lot of people. What
Gonna
you
expose
listening to
them.
that for?
they don't like. All right, man. I got some more questions for Ray. What is who you rooting for? We got sport. We talked about music and movies. Let's talk a little sports. What are you who you rooting for this weekend?
This weekend, NFL, AFC, NFC. I told somebody I think the most fun Super Bowl matchup would be the Cowboys versus the Chiefs.
Why?
Just because the Cowboys are America's team, and like I grew up with them. I'm not saying in any of my past discourse in the past 10 seconds, I did not say I'm a Cowboys fan.
I'm just letting you know, and to everybody watching,
know.
I am not a Cowboys fan.
I'm just saying from
My
I
uncle
love,
watching this, he probably gonna
he
call
throwing-
me. He gonna call me in a
throwing
little
a brick
bit.
at the screen. No, he drew something around your face and drew devil
He
horns.
just probably just turned it off. Like,
But,
forget that.
No, but like I do like the Cowboys because I grew up when like Emmitt Smith was like a superhero.
Okay.
And when they was doing their thing in the 90s. So I think it would be fun to see that. Realistically, I think it will probably be the Bengals ending up there again and the Eagles. I may have my divisions mixed up, but there could be like a whole separate sports episode, but I threw that question in there because I know the NFL is on everyone's mind. So, and if this runs a lot longer, people gonna start turning us off to tune into like the game. So,
Well, mine is the Eagles. I just picking the Eagles to go. Anybody who knows me knows that I only root for a handful of teams, and once my teams are out, I usually don't watch until like the championship game. So,
do you think Jalen Hurts is back to full strength?
probably not. It's hard to get back to full strength as you continue to play and get hit.
I think the 2 weeks off actually let him.
I mean, it's good for him to rest, but I think he should be good enough to be able to continue through the playoffs. He better be, because we need him to
One and done.
Yeah, we need him to get this. So if I'm not rooting for Chicago, once obviously they're out. What, they win 3 games this season?
They won
So
7? No, my bad. They won 5.
Yeah, however many games they won, they not in the playoffs.
Big ups to Justin
So,
Fields.
I have a special love for just the city of Philly. So it started with Allen Iverson with the Sixers,
Okay.
and then
I was about to hate.
That's what pushed me
I'm not
into-
gonna hate on Allen Iverson.
that's what pushed me into actually looking into the history of Philly. And then I had a friend that was from Philly, so I kind of learned a lot. And then Philly rappers, and then so I'm rooting for the Eagles to win.
Shout out to Will Smith.
Philly
rapper.
Will Smith.
And I think the Roots, Philly rapper.
I think it's quite a few rappers from Philly. But when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and what was that, 20?
That was like almost 5 years ago.
Yeah, what was that, 2016, 2017?
It was.
I know I was
the
working
year-
at
it
I was
the
working
year
at
after-
Amazon.
It was the
so
year after Trump won. I think it was the year after Trump won.
maybe.
Nick Foles.
Don't say Trump on here, man. I'm gonna get cut off. No, I'm just kidding. No, I was working at Amazon, and one of my bosses was a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan, and when they won, the next day when we got to work, we kind of like ran into each other's arms, and he cried. I didn't really cry, but I was extremely happy Philly had won a Super Bowl. So I'm rooting for Philly, and then once Philly gets out, I probably want to see the Chiefs in there. I hope San
That would be
Francisco spanks the Cowboys. Is today or tomorrow?
That's tomorrow.
So yeah, sorry.
I actually think the Cowboys will win that one. Like people are like picking that game. I just have a feeling Dak Prescott is so afraid of losing his job. I don't think nothing will motivate you like almost losing your job. That he's gonna like.
I like Dak as
He's
a
gonna get out
player.
there and throw like 7 touchdowns and then just like levitate on the field. So
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm rooting for the Eagles to take it. That's who I want to see win. Who I think realistically is going to win. It's probably going to be the Chiefs that probably make it back, and hopefully they go against the Eagles.
let's hope the halftime show was good again.
Yeah.
Last year was really nice.
So we'll see what's up.
I just have a feeling with Rihanna is gonna be it's gonna be like some not safe for work. I think it's like literally we're gonna have the button because we have a Super Bowl party at church. And I remember when 50 Cent started performing and the girls were twerking, they legit pulled the plug for like 30 seconds until Mary J. Blige started singing and they plugged it back in. So yeah.
They real quick with the cuts. What's your favorite thing about Chicago?
Favorite thing about Chicago is the people.
The people?
That sounds like a very politician answer, but I've seen how other like metropolitan cities run, and I just think, and this look, I may be thinking of Chicago. And let me rephrase this. I am thinking of Chicago through rose-colored glasses because whenever I think about the city, I always think about it through the lens of like Blues Brothers or Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where it's like it's just this city where it's like people work hard, they play hard, they're not constantly going like in New York, where it's not so big that you can lose yourself in the crowd, but it's big enough that you can have cultural diversity. You can have a vibrant artistic scene. You can have like these different like boroughs, and you can still have your Chinese section, your section with your different streets, like the Indian street, the Chinese street, or Chinatown. But it's not so big you can lose yourself in it. You can still you can go to New York to try and like build a career, and you can easily get lost. To me, but in Chicago, you can, I think, more easily distinguish yourself and not get lost in the crowd. Like if you want to come here and build a career,
So you being a suburban kid, did you have anything that you like when you thought about the city? Was it like, man, that's dangerous, I ain't never going to the city? Or were you in the city quite often when you were younger?
I was like, I had family in the city, so I was in the city often, because like growing up as a suburban kid, whenever they would mention the city to me, I would always think of, or if someone told me they lived in the city, I would say, how close to the Sears Tower are you? Because when someone told me they lived in the city, I would legit think they had a house right next to like the Sears Tower, and they like roll out of bed and they see the big building, and so like I think that's part of what kind of like helped protect my love of Chicago is that I was a suburbs kid. And like my dad grew up in the city. I mean, he grew up like lived in the heart of the city, worked in the heart of the city. My mom like kind of the same way. They would tell me like stories of like, you know, when there would be riots like during the 60s. They would tell me like when Martin Luther King was shot and like of racism they encountered. And so, and like my dad was like almost recruited by like every gang in the city from like the Vice Lords to the, I don't know if the Gangster Disciples were around like back in the 70s, but basically like every gang tried to recruit my dad. Like we should have him on the podcast.
Was your dad live like every part of the city? Like how did every gang try to recruit your dad?
My dad just had. I mean, they were very vigilant in their recruiting practices back in the day.
Wow.
They
So we shout out to Pops, man. We gotta have him on the pod to share.
Look, that would be a 14-hour long episode.
Hey, we gonna chop it down into 14.
No, you're not.
14 episodes.
It would just be a lot of silence. My dad has stories on stories of just craziness, like from the city. But despite those stories, he would tell me some really wild, out-of-pocket stuff that happened. I'd be like, man, that's the city? Can we go so I can see where this wild, out-of-pocket stuff happened?
Yeah.
So having that distance helped foster that love. And now that I'm in Forest Park and like the city is like literally a 8-minute drive till I'm like there. I mean, I'm still technically not, I'm still in Cook County since I'm in Forest Park, but the city's right there.
Yeah.
So so I can touch it. Me and my wife, we can just hop on the blue line, be there every day if we wanted to. So I'm really enjoying it.
Nice. So speaking of your dad, tell us about your family. I know you shared some of this when we did our interview, but share it for anybody watching this now who's just seeing you for the first time. Share with us about your family, your upbringing. You got brothers, sisters, mom, dad. Like share with us.
One of 5 children. I got a older sister, Angel, 2 years older than me. 3 older brothers, Quincy, Jewel, and Jermaine. Jermaine went home to be with the Lord. He passed away, so you know, rest in peace for that. But like Derry said, 2-parent household. Grew up in the suburbs. I can't say enough good things about my parents. Like they made marriage look good. They modeled their faith in such a way where it's like, I'll say it like this. Whenever I think about my parents, and I know like, you know, when we stand before God, you know, you got to account for this, you got to account for that. I don't think my parents really have, and this is me, there are little things I can nitpick. Oh, why didn't you do this? I mean, we could have had more of this, we could have had more of that. But if I was to really break it down, giving them a lot of grace for just stuff I'm realizing now, you know, because I'm looking forward to be a parent one day, hopefully soon, is that you got to have grace for your parents because they were kind of making a lot of stuff up as they went along. And the fact that my parents did so well and were able to raise us with so much love and were able to raise us, I love Jesus the way I do now because of my mom and dad. Because of how my dad would pray and how bold he was with his faith, because of how my mom would read and study the word. So I'm really, and just their style too, because a lot of Christian parents can be weird. You know, I got my love and my music from my dad. So my dad is an encyclopedia of Chicago dusty stepper sets, R&B, jazz, classical. My dad is very eclectic. My dad shows that, you know, to be a dark skin, like, man, you do not have to only like R&B. You do not have to only like this, but he is so eclectic. Like I can see God's creativity when I look at my dad. And my mom is like the same way, just smart, intelligent, creative, beautiful woman of God. My sister is just one of the smartest women I know, period. Like I learned so much from her. My brothers I just look up to. Like Q is just still like the cool dude. I'm trying to just like, and just a wonderful family man too. Quincy's family is wonderful, and man, I got mad love for Jewel. Jewel is a pretty fantastic artist too. We got like an artistic streak running through our family, and it's funny to see how it manifests. Shout out to my cousin Phil, who's a brilliant artist. But yeah, I can wax rhapsodic about my family now. Yeah, sometimes it could be like, man, I wish we had this, I wish we had that, but I am really thankful. for the family God chose to have me born into. So
Dope. Last question before we get out of here. And if y'all got any questions for Ray, drop them in the chat.
keep them to yourself.
Anybody that's still watching this, I don't know if we lost some people, but anyway, if you are watching this and you want to know anything about Ray, drop it in the chat, and then we'll ask him while we're live. Where do you see yourself, or what goals do you plan to accomplish within the next 10 years?
I would like to be a father.
Okay.
Yeah. Derry. One thing I love about Derry, I looked at the wrong camera for a second, is that he seems. You always see a bunch of parents losing their stuff with their kids. Sometimes when I talk with Derry, and I say this to his credit, you do not see the wear and tear of parenting on him. The love for his children is obvious, but you don't see he's proof that you can have 5 kids. Him and his wife too are dope. Shout out to Mrs. Derry, to Miss Cooks.
Tuatha.
I could say Miss Cooks, and I pray your daughter did well on her audition. But they show that you can have 5 kids, be married, and still not be tied down. They do parenting really well. Anyway, I would like to
Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
There you go. Yeah, I would like to be a parent. I would like to have a couple of short films under my belt. That passion has not diminished. In fact, the more I've grown in the Lord, the more I've journeyed with Him, the more ideas I have, the more I see myself directing and doing filmmaking stuff. So I want to have more scripts published, more short films made, be more like Jesus. I got to throw that in there, but Jesus, you hear sometimes Jesus is like, yeah, right. Yeah, you just said that to say that. I do want to be more like Jesus. I want to do more fun stuff at Grip because I really love working here, and I'm finally kind of getting my feet up under me in terms of how to make videos, how to shoot, how to light, how to edit. That now I'm kind of confident to kind of start busting up against the constraints a little bit and seeing what I can do, what God has me here for, how I can serve Grip with my talents. And I'm excited to be a podcast host too. And I really think Weird Perspective is already something special and can continue to be something special. Yeah, so in the immediate future, I want to get some chapstick because I can feel like my lips are, chapped. But yeah. Yes.
All right, so there you have it. I don't see any questions in the chat, so we probably gonna get up out of here. Yeah, there you have it. So y'all see, this is Raymond. He is a movie, what's the word, connoisseur? Did I say that right?
That works.
Working on my pronunciation. And then also he's funny. He be cracking jokes and stuff like that. So, man, I'm happy. Thank y'all for joining us today, and look forward to The Weird Perspective Season 2 coming in a couple weeks. First episode is going to drop. It's going to be not only on YouTube, the visual, but you can hear the audio. It's going to be everywhere for everywhere that you can find a podcast. So Apple, Spotify, Stitcher.
OnlyFans. Yeah.
Oh,
No.
He said OnlyFans.
No. Okay. Let's get one last.
Maybe we'll start a Patreon or something like that if anybody wants to have
We got to be a light in the darkness.
offline discussions.
So somebody would see weird. Somebody would see Weird Perspective. They would think it is something kinky, and then they click and then they get saved, listening to us.
Hey,
I'm just throwing it.
hey.
Jesus is just no, I did not co-sign.
It said
that.
go to where the dark or the
Yes.
wild things are in that case. All right, man, look, it's been real. Thank y'all for joining us. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. It's been a little bit over an hour, right? This was fun. And so now y'all get to this was the big announcement. New co-host. We'll knock it out the park. My dog,
Oh, man. Love you, my
Ray.
brother.
Appreciate you. Until the next time, It's the Weird Perspective. Season 2 on the way. And we out. Peace.
With your protection, your armor that I've been blessed with, no stressing. When I'm trying to teach them all your lessons, they looking at me crazy like I got a weird perspective.
I mean, on my
Smear
phone,
faces, Lord,
still
they hate
live,
to hear
but
your
we-
message. Doing deal with your protection, your armor that I've been blessed with, no stressing. When I'm trying to teach them all your lessons, they looking at me crazy like I got a weird perspective. Check it. It's crazy how they look at you when you going hard, God body as usual. Your crooked mind is twisted, let's fix your mental dude. And sit your pride aside to help your spirit through. These crazy times can leave you blind, trust the process. I cannot stress enough that this holy gift's for you. But you steady refuse to get it, just listen. They bring